Namaskaram, myself Vikas Shakya. I welcome you all back on my channel. And today we are going to discuss about verse number 15 and verse number 16 of Bhagavad Gita. So before we start these, lectures, every lecture I would like to explain you first two things. I would like to remind you basically that if you have to understand Bhagavad Gita or anything which is belonging to the Indian scriptures, maybe Vedas, maybe Upanishads, then in that case you must need to understand two things in advance. First thing is para, apara, the two section of the entire creation of the God, and five layers of the body that we have discussed in one of the previous videos. The five layers of the body: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya Kosh. These are known as the different cells, different layers of the body. So, if you have understood these different layers of the body and also the para and apara, sections of the nature, and there are three Upanishads. One is Kena, second is Mandukya, and third one is Mundak. If you understand these three different Upanishads, then also it will be very beneficial for you before you are able to understand whatever has been written in these scriptures, because the Bhagavad Gita is the crux of all the Upanishads. It's nothing but the crux of all the Upanishads. Lord Krishna has told everything to Arjuna, and he has explained everything to Arjuna. All those things have been explained in the various scriptures, whether it's Vedas, whether it's Upanishads, whether it's Brahman, Upanishad, Brahman scriptures, or whatever available, right? Puranas, right? Whatever available there, everything explains all these concepts only in different formats, right? So the things are very small, but to explain them in an elaborative manner, all these scriptures were written. So let us move to the verse number 15 and verse number 16 of the Bhagavad Gita in this video, chapter number 13. So verse number 15, I have not written the verses here because you can always go to the books, or you can always go to the online sources to find out what is written in the Sanskrit language in there. Maybe you can check that English translation as well for that, or maybe Hindi translation, whatever language you prefer. And after that, you come to this video and try to find out whatever I'm trying to explain. Does that matches with all those explanations, or all those lines that have been written as the meaning of those verses, so that you can understand it really, that yes, whatever has been written, only that has been discussed here. We have understood, we have tried to understood with the help of the Vedas, with the help of the Upanishads, the meaning of those verses we are trying to understand here, what they say, right? So verse number 15 of chapter number 13 say, he is the source of all the senses, of the all the sensory organs, like this eye, this ear, right, this mouth, my mind, right? These are the 24 elements that we have discussed in one of the previous videos. So all these 24 elements, which are the part of our body, which constitute our entire body, all those contains some of the sensory organs. You might have understood, you might have studied there, like there are 10 sensory organs, right? Five are the sensory organs, and rest five are the using which you do some actions, you perform some actions. So five organs through which you perform the action, and five organs through which you sense it, which you sense something, like from eyes we sense something which we can see, right? From the ear we can sense some sound, right? And from our mind we can sense, like we can sense about the thoughts. We can have the thoughts in our mind, and based on those thoughts we get motivated and do our actions in our daily life. We take our decisions in our life based on those based on those motivations, which comes as a result of the motivation from our mind, based on the kind of thoughts we have in our mind. So our sensory organs, these are these are given to us, like this eye, this ear, these are all given to us, but the main source, right, the main source who makes them to do their real work, like this eye, it can watch, the ear they can hear. So who has made the ears to hear, who has made the eyes so that they can see? So all these things which have been provided to us, like who is the eye of the eye, who is the ear of the ear? Then the answer, he means the God. God is the ear of the ear. He is the eye of the eye. And all these things have been very well explained in one of the Upanishads, which is known as the Kena Upanishads. In the Kena Upanishads, it has been explained that he is the eye of the eyes of our eyes. He is the ear of our ears. Means he is the source of all the sensory organs and their activities, how they perform the activities, what kind of quality they possess, what kind of machinery they possess, through so that they can see, they can perform the action of seeing something, they can perform the action of hearing something, right? You cannot see from the ear, you cannot hear from the eyes, right? So all these sources, the sources of all these organs, he is the God. He the source, the source is the God, right? The source of all these organs, all these sensory organs, whether it's mouth, right, whether it's eyes, whether it's mind, he is the ultimate source of all these things, right? But still he is without organs, right? This is very simple to understand. You might have seen the seed, right? Suppose you sow some seed in the in the earth, in some field, in some grain field, you sow some seed, right? Suppose you sow the seed of mango, right? If you see that seed doesn't contain anything which is mango. If you open that seed, you cannot find out any any tree of the mango. But still that particular seed has all the qualities that it can manifest itself in the form of a mango tree, right? So this is what has been said here, and we have seen this in our nature, right? So the same thing has been explained here. This nature has been created by God. Nature is God, this nature is God itself, because it is the manifestation of that supreme energy itself, right? So just like you are not able to see the tree of mango inside inside the seed of the mango, inside that big seed of the mango. And also but still that seed contains all the possesses all the qualities, possesses all the sources, right? Like all the sources to generate the flowers on the tree, and generate the mangoes on that tree. So you will not be able to find the mango inside that seed, right? But still that seed is the source of all those things which will come this seed will manifest in the form of a mango tree, right? So this is what Lord Krishna is trying to explain here, right? Then the next line is, he is protecting everyone, is still detached. Lord, the God is protecting all of us, just like you protect your children, but you are, very much attached to them. He is my son, he is my daughter. Yeah. So these are the things. This happens to us, but this doesn't happen to that supreme energy, because for that supreme energy, everything is just the law of nature. It works as per the law of the nature. It doesn't, it is not biased towards any person or towards any particular particular kind of species. It's fair for everyone, right? But still it is detached, right? Just like the just like if you are running a old age home, right? If you're running an old age home, or if you're running an orphanage, then in that case you are protecting all the children, right? But still you are detached to them. You are attached to all, or you can say you are attached to none. Attached to all means attached to none, right? So you are ultimately detached from all of them, because there are many to whom you are taking care of, right? So you are taking care of everyone, but still you are detached. Similarly, God is taking care of all the living species on this earth, all the things on this earth, under the under the rule of the nature. The rule of the nature means these five layers of the body, the spara and apara, the 24 elements. All the actions that we perform, those all actions, they are not impacted by the God. Those all actions, since we have given our sensory organs, we have our mind. So all those actions are the reaction among those 24 elements, including the mind. So all the actions that we perform, they are the the resultant, they are the result of the reaction between those 24 elements, and that is why we are able to perform different kind of actions, right? So this is what Lord Krishna is explaining here, that even the God is protecting everyone, but still he is not attached to anyone. He is not attached to anyone. He is detached completely. In Mahabharata, the king Dhritarashtra, he was attached towards his son Duryodhana, but Lord Krishna, he was he initiated the final war of Mahabharata. But still, after winning the Mahabharata, he doesn't have to get anything from the Pandavas. He doesn't have to get anything from the Kauravas. So he was detached. No one, he didn't wanted anything. He didn't ask for anything that after winning the war, you will give this to me. Or if after winning the war, you will give that thing to me, or you will give half of your kingdom to me. Nothing like that was happened, right? So he was doing all that action. He was performing that action. He was removing all the negative energies which were present in the field of Kurukshetra, through the Arjuna, through himself. He was the real source of that Mahabharata war. But still he was detached. He has not to get anything from that war, because that war was necessary when the person becomes polluted inside, right? There are two kind of natures. One nature is outside us, one nature is inside us. When our inside nature gets polluted, then the inside nature gets purified after the war, right? If your outside nature gets polluted, then in that case that outside nature will kill you. It will kill you, and it will make itself pure and clean, right? If you are sending the if you are throwing the plastics in your rivers, then in that case one day all this plastic will come to you, because you are drinking the water from those rivers only. So one day that plastic will come to you. Maybe a lot of people will be killed due to the cancer, that will be generated from that plastic. So this nature will heal itself, right? Whatever is outside nature, it can heal itself, it will impact you. But if your inner nature, which constitute of 24 elements, if it gets destroyed, if it is not in the balance, then in that case you start doing different kind of works which harm others, which doesn't only harm the nature, which also harm the other people, which also harm the very basic principle of justice. And it violates the very basic principle of justice, and you start giving the pain to others. In that case, what happens, that whatever has been polluted from inside, that can only be cleaned from inside. And when that is started getting clean from inside, then in that case some person or the set of people in this universe or in this world, they start thinking of eradicating all these things. They start thinking of the dharma, the real truth. They start thinking of the justice, they start thinking of the righteousness. When they start thinking of righteousness, they found the correct path. They find that yes, to eradicate and to make the world a livable place for all the people, we need to eradicate all these people who are doing the wrong things. So they wage a war, and that war is known as the dharma yuddha, the war for the righteousness. So that war is done every time whenever we pollute ourselves from inside. So all these wars, just like in case of this is 2023, and believe me, within 1 or 2 years, or even forget about 2026 and 27, those years are really bad. But year 2024 and 25, they will themselves will be unbearable for every one of us. That is going to be happen, right? Because we have polluted ourselves from inside, and this is the law of the nature. If you have polluted yourself from the inside, this is going to do its work, this will do its work, right? So that is why these kind of wars and these kind of things you are able to see these days, right? So the kind of war the people are fighting, the kind of the invisible war, in terms of economic wars, in terms of war for the weapons, all these things they are happening. Why? Because people has polluted themselves from the inside. The very basic nature of the religion or the righteousness, the only thing which defines righteousness is the compassion. Your belief or your faith in any religion without the compassion is just a gimmick, it's nothing, right? So people have lost their compassion, people have lost their faith in the compassion. People are so compassionless, people are so senseless that they don't feel the pain of others. They feel happy by giving the pain to others. So all these things are happening. So this is something which is known as polluting yourself from inside, and that is why these kind of things is happening, because it is nature. Outside nature balances itself in the form of the natural disaster. Inside nature, when it tries to balance itself, because this inside nature is not only inside me, this is encompassing all of us. Whatever nature is inside me, that also encompasses you. This nature is binding all of us together. Since this nature is binding all of us together, so what is happening, that we all will be impacted from each other. We all will be getting impacted from those thoughts which are coming to some other guy, which are coming to me. So like-minded people, they will be they will start collecting themselves, right? They will start gathering themselves in a separate group. And the people who know, who want to go on the right path, they will they will be gathered somewhere else, right? So there will be two groups, the group of good people and the group of the bad people, right? You cannot say who is good and who is bad. You cannot decide who is good and who is bad. This is all inside your mind, right? Who Those who know that what has been said inside the scripture, those who know what is the real compassion, they, as per their definition, they think that they are right. Even Duryodhana in the Mahabharata used to think that he is right. There is nothing right or wrong. Everything is nothing is absolute. Everything is relative, right? The theory of relativity by the Einstein was given, and that was really true, right? So everything is relative. Whatever you say is right, there must be something, some reference point to say that yes, why this is right, and there must be some reference point to say that why that is wrong. So all these things which comes to us, these are the pollution of our inner mind, of our inner self, right? Our inner nature. When our inner nature gets polluted, then our inner nature, which encompasses all of us, which binds all of us, it provokes us to wage a war, and we gets involved in a war because we think that whatever we think that is right, and whatever other is thinking, that is wrong. And that is why this kind of clashes happen, and these will happen in coming late in the coming 2 years, right? 2 to 3 years you will be able to see all these things happening. There is nothing is going to stop it. This will happen, right? So all these things are happening because of the law of the nature. But Lord Krishna himself has kept himself away from this. He is just monitoring all this. He is just monitoring all this. This energy, this supreme energy, which is known as Lord Krishna. It is monitoring all these things. It is just keeping an eye all on these things. It has just created the law of the nature, and he has just created that the reaction among these 24 elements, which encompasses our body, they will react, and they will as a resultant, some karma or some action will take place, and those actions can be right or wrong. Maybe those actions can be, nothing is right or wrong. It's only done under the satoguna, which will be discussed later in next chapter. So it can either be done in the form of the satoguni action, or the tamoguni action, or the rajoguni action. What are these actions, we will discuss in the next chapter. But yes, these kind of actions are known as, these are classified only in this manner. Whatever is right, whatever is wrong, everyone thinks that he is doing the right thing. So you can never explain what is right, what is wrong to anyone, because every person thinks that he is right, right? So all the actions that are performed, they are performed as per the law of the nature. God, or the supreme energy, doesn't interfere with it, right? It's only there to give the energy to this universe, so that all these elements which perform the action, they can work. Without the energy, your clock, your table clock cannot work, your wall clock, that cannot work, right? So everything needs an energy, right? So until there is an energy, nothing can work. So that is why he is just the source of the consciousness, he is just the source of the energy, but he's not involved in these reactions. That is what Lord Krishna is saying, that that particular energy doesn't get involved in these reactions, right? So for example, when you are running your when you start your fan, your fan just gets started, because that fan has a machinery that has a winding, that has a binding, right? Because of that binding, and because of the magnetic field, it starts, as per the Fleming's left hand rule, it starts working. These the fan starts running inside, that magnetic field, it starts running, right? But that source of energy, which is providing the energy to that fan, that doesn't have to, take care of that, to think about that, the wiring that has been done, right? So that kind of wiring, whatever kind of wiring has been done, you just give the source of energy. That source of energy has nothing to do. If you, take away that fan, and you put some other thing like some light, that light will start, that light will start, that light will be, shining, when you, attach that light with that socket, through which the fan was attached. So light, that energy, that particular power that you're providing, that has nothing to do with the machinery of the object that is, utilizing this energy. The machinery will work as per the machinery has been created for that particular machine. The energy or the power doesn't have to do anything with that machinery. That is what Lord Krishna is explaining here, and that is why we are trying to explain it here in this manner, because everything that is available in the nature, it can very well explain all the things that has been explained in our scriptures, because our scriptures are totally dependent, or the totally based on the on the nature, totally dependent on the rule of the nature. It only explains the law of the nature, right? So that is why Lord Krishna is saying that he is protecting everyone but is still detached. He is free from all the qualities of the nature, whatever Sata, Raja and Tama, but still he is the master of entire creation. He is the master because without energy there can be no matter. So energy is the important thing. So he is the supreme energy, right? And that supreme energy has been manifested in many forms, whether it's celestial bodies, or whether it's in the form of you and me, right? So all these things, he is the master, means supreme energy is the master, because without energy nothing can be generated, nothing can be manifested. Only energy is there, which is manifested in the form of the in the form of material, right? So energy gets manifested into the form of matter, right? So that is what he's saying. So energy is the main thing, it's not the matter. Matter doesn't create energy, energy creates the matter. That is what he's trying to explain here. He is the supreme master, he is the supreme energy. So I hope this particular verse has been clarified to you. And now let us go to the verse number 16. What it says: ultimate truth. Ultimate truth means supreme energy that lies inside and outside of every living and non-living things. I hope there is nothing much to explain in here. We have just explained it, that energy is outside and inside us. This nature, we are talking about the nature in this chapter. So this nature, or the supreme energy, or the main energy source, that is inside us and outside us also, because without that energy nothing can be manifested, neither the trees, the plants, nothing can be manifested without that energy. So that energy is outside us, that energy is outside this inside us, right? We are taking the air inside us, that air is getting that air is getting distributed in different organs of the body, and that air is also outside us, right? So the deity of the air, that is outside and as well as inside us, right? So all these things has been explained in very well manner. And if you know the very basic principle of the nature, law of the nature, then you will not find any difficulty to understand Bhagavad Gita or any scripture for that matter, right? So everything which is outside us and which is inside us, that is the supreme energy, the ultimate energy, right? So that is what Lord Krishna is explaining here. He is so small, you cannot see from the naked eyes that source of energy that is there. But the thing is that you cannot see it. It is so small that from your naked eyes you can never see it. For example, the atoms, you cannot see the cells in a body organ, you cannot see. You need the electronic microscope, you need the microscope, right? So you know this. So similarly, he is so small that no one can watch it, no one can see him, right? That is what he's saying, that he is so small that he cannot be experienced through the sensory organs. I hope this doesn't need to explain. And then he says he lives far away, right? He lives far away. He is far away from us. How he is far away from us? He is far away from us when we are involved, in the worldly affairs, when we are involved into the lusty thoughts, in the lusty desires. Then he is far away from us, but still he is inside us, so he is nearby us. So we just have to throw out our lusting thoughts. We have to throw out our wishes, the wishes which involves us in these worldly affairs. So all these things we have to you know you have to we have to remove from our mind, right? It doesn't mean that you don't have to earn money. You have to earn money, but being detached. You should be detached. You have to have a family, but you should be detached. You should follow all the norms of a family man. You should follow all the rituals that you need to do as a family man, as a father, as a husband, but you should be detached. You should do your actions with full devotion, but still detached. You should not think that these things are yours. You should make a practice of this. And how that practice is made? Through karma yoga, through jnana yoga, through bhakti yoga, through dhyana yoga. So all these yogas have been explained in Bhagavad Gita, that we will discuss later on. But this is the basic concept that you must need to understand before we move into the Bhagavad Gita further. So this is what he is saying, that he lives far away from, he is far away from us. If you are involved in this world, but still he is nearby as well. So these two contradictory things we cannot simply explain. We need to understand the basic meaning and the metaphoric language of the scriptures, right? Without these metaphoric languages, without understanding the metaphoric languages, without understanding the grammar, without understanding the meaning of being away and being nearby, that has not been explained anywhere. I mean, that has been not been explained in your philosophical books in that manner. You need to understand this philosophy from the Indian philosophy itself. You cannot understand from the Western philosophy. You cannot understand this line, like someone says that I'm far far away from you but still I'm nearby you, right? So if you see logically, he will say, what kind of madness is this? What kind of thing you're talking about, right? So this is very simple, right? If you love someone, still he is away from you. I'm in India, someone is in USA, I love him a lot, my friend is there, I love him a lot. Then in that case, what will happen? Even if he's at a long distance from me, but still every time I'm remembering him, I try to remember him, I try to think about him. So he is nearby my heart. So this is something which has been explained here. So if you are involved in the worldly desires, if you are involved in the lusty thoughts, if you are involved in the lusty desires, then in that case